Hi guys, welcome back to Owl003, the best RV you're ever going to see. It's right here on Owl003. So today, talking about money, theater, politics, and narrative. I've been putting this off for a while. This is what remote viewing is today. So let's start with the Stargate community. You've got generically viewer 1, 2, 3, and 4 came out of Stargate military. So all these viewers hate each other, all hate and jealous of each other, and have bred that hate in their students and left a wake of bodies of students and instructors behind them. Viewer 1, CRV Ingo. Let's make this really clear. There is no more CRV Ingo remote viewing. Ingo's legacy is dead. It's been dead since CRV was brought to the military. They changed it instantly. And none of those people have the right to decide what's genuine, authentic Ingo CRV because they changed it immediately. So they're not the forebearers. Never going to be. You have the CRV military, another guy trained version, another guy military trained version. One's a little more closer to the original military version, another's different terminology, changed a little bit. Then you have viewer 4, which is interesting. Viewer 4 is a non-military remote viewer, military trained, and my suspicion would be likely trained quite a bit, or likely paid quite a bit more money because they weren't military personnel. So you could imagine being a fly on the wall in this scenario. They all hated each other's guts. It's all about clout and rank, and as a non-military personnel, like, I couldn't imagine. It must have been hell being in that unit. Because and you can see to this day, there's individuals still writing books about these people, bashing them because they're so jealous. It's really sad. Viewer 3. You'll hear this. There was a viewer in the unit where a student had wrote this damaging email threatening to change terminology. Prue Watch was bred and born out of this legacy. And there was, okay, we'll get there. All right, so then you've got this unsubstantiated military claim. Obvious cherry-picked methodology, again, hates people above and their students. Okay, this is the visual-based methodology. Y'all know who that guy is, who's obviously taken a mishmash of TRV and some other things. And then he takes his students, claims he has a supremacy method and bashes all these people. And then these people bash each other within each other. All these people could go to conferences, though, and they pretend like they don't. Non-profit organizations. This is where it's a mixed bag of some of these people and their students. But this is where the politics kind of come into play, because a lot of some of these organizations, and they know who they are. They say non-for-profit, but they're certainly profit for someone. Mainly the psychics that teach classes out of there that are affiliated with it and are primarily these people and these people's students, okay? And it's all a big political game. They're not really all that talented psychics, honestly. But they're either in the, they're either friends of the people that are officers in these, not-for-profit groups, and they kind of leech off of those organizations to make their money, selling their classes. Um, Board members, presidents, vice president, whatever, that kind of thing. And you have a lot of people that, they do these conferences. Okay, they do. It's basically a big party. They take your money, they speak. They don't do anything for consciousness. They don't do any really big project. Like nothing's come out of those things. Um, but they take your money and then they get together. And now they're doing things like competitive type things. Also, they start these organizations. They place themselves in the organizations in order to put themselves in a place of some kind of authority and consciousness and well-being, when in all reality they've done absolutely nothing. Again, there's a competing psychic thing coming up. Nice people about nice guys. Not that they're bad people, but they've done nothing in the field of consciousness, or the field of remote viewing, other than take classes. That's it. And they're trying to put themselves in a position of some kind of authority in consciousness. It's just a big political game. There's no substance there, guys. Okay, so that's the organizations with conferences. And then all these people, these folks that are pretty much washed up, they just run these circuits. They just show up, they talk about consciousness. They don't have much work. They haven't done much actual remote viewing. They haven't contributed to any innovative projects, really. Nothing. It's just a big political pat on the back, and a way to promote themselves. It's all about self-promotion. So, up-and-comers claiming methodology supremacy. Again, all about personal agenda. So you've got next generation of these guys who basically revamp the same shit, claiming some kind of leverage. It's happening all the time. I mean, a lot of these guys, camps out of these guys, are all about this visual thing, when they're kind of just basically just speaking out of their ass, claiming that there's no visuals in CRV, when everybody in CRV gets visuals just like any other methodology. But they claim it because then they want to sell more books with whatever they're selling. Meanwhile, they can't remote view for shit themselves. So, yeah, you get a lot of that. A lot of people writing books. Again, meanwhile, they haven't done anything, really. Gosh, other than opinions. They're just armchair remote viewers. So they want to sell books. They want to make a name for themselves. They want to sell classes and products. That's what it's all about. Okay, then you have the online Discord / Reddit. No projects to speak of. Bash others, promote themselves. People of love and light and community on Facebook. But then they go on Discord and Reddit and stuff, and they bash the shit out of each other. They create these small groups, and they just bash other remote viewers that are actually doing things. So let's talk about the streaming services. Streaming services are about narrative, money, and supremacy. Whether it be soul traps or crypto, their modus operandi to me seems to be shilling subscriptions. You know what I mean? Like if crypto's like such a, if there's such millionaires from crypto, why are they shilling so hard for subscriptions? You know what I mean? It's just weird. Like if I was just super rich, the last thing I would be doing is spending my time trying to convince you to buy into a form of investment. You know what I'm saying? It's just bizarre to me. So I think it's important to be warned, to know what you're really getting into. Once you lift the hood on this stuff, it's really ugly, and it's something you just kind of have to tolerate if you do have a passion for this. Because, like I said, I mean, I've not just myself, but I have colleagues that have, you have these shows. Like another thing, you have maybe not necessarily like little YouTube shows or something. these people will get their students in places to kind of pigeonhole consciousness. So they have their friends and stuff come on the show, um, instead of people that are really innovating in the field of consciousness. So it's literally stunting the growth of consciousness, has been for decades, guys. Ever since organizations were popped up out of this, it's been a form of control. It's been a form of control to control narrative, students, the cash flow. That's really what remote viewing is today. Unfortunately, it's sad. You get there's another woman. She gets on YouTube. Oh, I remote viewed the moon, and they were all talking to me about the 144,000 and this, that, the other. Remote viewing is done in the blind, guys. I've never seen that individual do any targets in the blind ever. That's called imagination. People love a good story. People love an easy way out. They're always, anything. Like a lot of these people that are like keep claiming all this from, they were never very good at the whatever they learned originally. They keep trying to redesign it. Meanwhile, I'm stomping them out. But I get the point is the methodology doesn't matter. Bring all the tools you want. I'm going to kick your ass anyway. It doesn't really matter. I can use this old rusty trombone, CRV. It doesn't really matter. And there's a lot of pissing at each other over that. That's a big deal. So, when you talk about, remote viewing, consciousness, and community, I say to myself, what community? There's no community here, let alone science or innovation. Remote viewing is a pissing contest. That's what it is. People in remote viewing primarily aren't after self-exploration. They're not after promoted community. They're after money, fame, clout. That's it. I just did a post about visuals, and then the Porky Pig, female version of remote viewing, media whore, gets on and is doing a thing about visuals because she has no original thought in her head. I mean, these people are despicable. There was a letter written about Prue. I said Prue Watch recently by this same individual. It's just so jealous, so intimidated because somebody came back in and was, getting a lot of recognition for their work, and people were, obviously was taking from her perspective list of students. So you'll find some of the smallest people in the field of consciousness and remote viewing. Not that there isn't good ones. There's good ones in here. But make no mistake, it's a system of control, and it's unhealthy, and it's slowing down the evolution of consciousness. People love a good story. People love to, really, quite often don't. Once you really get into the field of this, it's well known. So, for the people getting into remote viewing, and I hope that people do, this is something you're going to have to learn to contend with and deal with, and like I said, it's unfortunate, but it's the truth. So please like, subscribe, share the content. For the best RV you're ever going to see, right here in Owl 003. We'll catch you next time. Please like and subscribe, guys.